Orioles and Indians coming up at the inaugural game here at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. We want you to be a part of the whole day here, and I know a lot of fans like to see the introductions of the lineups and all the pregame ceremonies, so let's go down on the field right now where Chuck Thompson and John Miller are getting us started here in the pregame ceremonies.
Evening fans will receive a baseball signed by today's Orioles lineup. In addition, they'll also receive a $25 gift certificate, which will be good at the new Pastimes Cafe, located right in the warehouse, courtesy of ARA Services, the ballpark concessionaire. Congratulations to you all, to all of our fans. We say a sincere thank you.
Well, there you see some of the special guests that'll be part of the program. Brooks will join us in the broadcast booth later on, along with Jim Palmer. A little slice of Cooperstown there, Keith.
I wonder what goes through their minds right now. They've had so many great moments in Memorial Stadium. They helped build Memorial Stadium, make it what it is, and now they're at the beginning of something special.
Well, the ballpark really is memories, and the reason Memorial Stadium was such a great place was because of all the memories that Brooks and Jim Palmer and all the other guys that wore the Oriole orange there did. And now it's up to guys like Mike Mussina and Ben McDonald and Cal Ripken Jr. to create memories here at Oriole Park.
Yeah, John Oates was saying after the last game of last year that it took the final ceremony for these guys to really realize just how rich the Orioles tradition was, that they really didn't understand how rich it was until they saw Jim Palmer on the mound crying during that last game. And I think that says something, one, about the modern athlete, and two, about the tradition of baseball here in Baltimore.
Jim Palmer and Mike Mussina. Some have kind of put Mike in that category, not to jinx him, but Mike Mussina has done so much so soon that similar to Jim Palmer's arrival with the Birds.
Yeah, Rick Dempsey was saying last night that of all the young pitchers he's seen, Mussina may have the brightest future.
Now the Morgan State Choir singing out in the center field area. Under the direction of Nathan Carter, the Morgan State Choir singing Maryland, My Maryland.
Now where's the Morgan band? That's what we want to see now. Spruce up this ceremony a little bit.
Fans on their feet here at the stadium. It's rather quiet right now. Is everybody waiting to see what's going to happen next year pregame ceremonies?
Sort of like the reaction last year during the last game.
Now America by America.
Maybe you noticed it. The ribbon this size needs some help. So joining us along the ribbon and lifting it up for you to see are 50 men and women who represent the people who built this great ballpark. I want you to please welcome all the construction workers who built Oriole Park.
Right now, some of the construction workers, 50 representative workers in hard hats, lining up along the ribbon as children, dignitaries, and celebrities participate in the opening ceremonies here to cut the ribbon at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. A lot of Orioles down there in those little leaguers.
A lot of future Orioles, we hope. And I tell you, the guys who built this place, imagine the pride they feel right now.
The future of this state and the future of this state. More than 50 little leaguers representing each county and Baltimore City are here with all their passion. Also welcome these wonderful young people.
Little leaguers carrying flags from the state of Maryland, the United States of America, and an Orioles flag as they spread out down the left and right field corners.
Also, ladies and gentlemen, to join this group, we have representatives from the state of Maryland and from the Orioles. It's a rather illustrious group, a select group.
There's the governor of the state, inner goal in putting this whole project together. Place looks great all dressed up, doesn't it, Keith? The seats full, the banners flying.
It's whatever you imagine and perceive it to be, it's just even better.
There's one man in particular whose vision, determination, support, and just sheer willpower made this ballpark, on which the eyes of the entire baseball world are focused today, the governor of the great state of Maryland, William Donald Schaefer.
Governor William Donald Schaefer introduced. When others said elsewhere for the ballpark, he said downtown.
Yeah, we talked.
And he was right.
The one and only Hall of Famer, Frank Robinson.
Frank Robinson introduced, the Orioles assistant general manager and Hall of Famer.
And what a great moment Saturday night here at the baseball with Frank and James Earl Jones.
Frank pulled a long shot that set off fireworks.
It
looked like the natural from the right side. And Boog Powell gets the big boog.
Boog with his barbecue stand over the right field fence.
Best food at the ballpark, they say.
Corner behind the right field wall before each and every game. Now, a special guest here
Earl Weaver
today. His father was committed to the people of our Orioles fans. Committed to keeping the Orioles in Baltimore permanently.
Yeah, we had a chance to talk with Earl down at fantasy camp, Scott, and I had never seen Earl so excited about a stadium that he wasn't going to manage in.
Ned Williams introduced the son of the late Edward Bennett Williams. And certainly his vision was the downtown ballpark, and that has a lot to do with this day.
Yeah, I think it's the real pioneer of this whole stadium complex.
Honorable Mayor of Baltimore, Mayor Kurt Schmoke. Certainly a big sports fan and a former high school star in City.
You know, you look at Brooks and Frank and Boog and Jim Palmer, Earl Weaver, you know, Brooks and Frank, their numbers retired, Earl and Jim Palmer. Appropriate, I guess, Friday, Eddie Murray was here, the fifth Oriole to have his number retired.
And Earl Weaver with his former pitcher, Jim Palmer. There's still an act.
Jim's moving guys around in the outfield already.
It's time to cut the ribbon. Herb Belgrad also out there from the Maryland Stadium Authority. Fireworks overhead, and the ribbon's been cut. Brooks Robinson right there. Governor Schaefer with the honors. And Oriole Park at Camden Yards is just about ready to play ball.
You know,
the Orioles and the Indians coming up. But first this.
The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball. America has rolled by like an army of steamrollers. It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again. But baseball has marked the time. This field, this game, is a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good, and it could be again. Oh, people will come, Ray. People will most definitely come.
And you're looking at the Orioles Field of Dreams, Orioles Park at Camden Yards. Scott Garceau and Keith Mills here. John Miller and Brooks Robinson will be joining us in the booth for the broadcast of this afternoon's game. Both guys down on the field, part of the ceremonies, Keith. And the excitement just keeps building, right?
Keith's built crescendo effect.
I feel like I'm pitching today. We're getting ready right now for the introductions of the Indians and the Orioles. So let's join John Miller. Here come the Indians.
Batting six, playing right field, number 23, Mark Wigden. Batting seven, and catching, number 15, Sandy Alomar Jr.
There's Sandy Alomar Jr.
Batting eighth and playing third base, number 26, Brooke Jacoby.
And Brooke Jacoby, one of the few veterans on a very young Cleveland Indian team.
Mark Lewis.
I think they average about 26 years of age.
The
Youngest team in the majors.
The youth movement has hit Cleveland.
Charles Nagy.
I believe they moved the fences in.
Yes, they have, about 30 feet in the power alleys. Charles Nagy will be the starting pitcher for the Indians.
Number 2, outfielder, Alex Cole. Number 16, shortstop, Felix Scavini. Number 20, infielder, Tony Bereseca. Number 22, infielder, Dave Brody. Number 27.
Scott, the Indians, of course, with a real Orioles flavor. John Hart, of course, the former Orioles third base coach, or first base coach. Now the general manager of the Indians, Dan O'Dowd, once a salesman here with the Orioles and a member of the Orioles scouting department. Now the director of player development. So they have a serious Orioles flavor.
And they, too, are pointing toward a new stadium in downtown Cleveland, expected to be ready for opening day 1994. So they're a little curious as to what's happening here in Baltimore with the new ballpark.
Eric Bell, who pitched for the Orioles a few years ago, we thought his career may be over because of arm problems. He has made the Indians pitching staff.
Just introduced right now, number 63.
Hey, Hirsch.
They didn't think he was going to make it when they gave him that number.
No, nearly pitched a no-hitter for the Orioles. Remember a few years ago in Minnesota at the
Went
Dome?
into the ninth, yeah. The Indians with a new manager as well, and some good young players, probably led by Albert Bell.
I can't help but think of the scene in the movie Major League whenever I think of opening day in the Indians, when the grounds crew sitting around saying, another bad year coming. But, you know, obviously this is a time for optimism.
Well, the Indians lost 105 games last year. The Orioles, of course, lost 95, so two teams with nowhere to go but up. You missed the front part of the order for the Indians. It was Kenny Lofton leading off in center, Glenn Allen Hill batting second in left field, Carlos Baerga batting third at second base, Albert Bell, the cleanup hitter. He's the DH. Paul Sorrento at first base batting fifth. And now, here come the Orioles. We'll listen in.
First, manager of the Orioles, number 26, Johnny Oates.
Manager John Oates.
And now the starting lineup. Leading off, left fielder, number 9, Brady Anderson.
There's the guy the Orioles hope can ignite the offense. He did it in the spring. Brady Anderson's going to get a shot. And the professional veteran, Joe Orsulak, he'll keep showing up.
Number 37, Glenn Davis. Batting in, the center fielder, number 12, Mike Devereaux. Batting sixth, the designated hitter, number 38, Sam Moore. Batting seventh, the third baseman, number 10, Leo Gomez. Batting eighth, the catcher, number 23, Rick Sutcliffe. Batting ninth, the second baseman, number 3, Bill Whitman. Now the starting pitcher for the Champions today, number 40, right-hander Rick Sutcliffe. Now the left of the Baltimore Orioles. Number 2, infielder Mark McLemore.
There's Mark McLemore, who made the club in spring training this year.
Number 18, right-hander Bob Riley. Number 19, right-hander Ben Minello.
Bob Malacky will make Wednesday night start here, the opening night here at Orioles Park at Camden Yards.
Ben McDonald and David Segui. And what an ovation for Rick Dempsey. He's not a part of this club, but he is a part of this club and always will be, Keith.
And that's a touch of class, I think, letting him come out and take a bow. One of the many Orioles wearing beards this year. The Orioles waived their beard rule, maybe to accommodate Rick Sutcliffe.
That's the Sutcliffe clause. Storm Davis, a nice hand as he comes back to his roots.
Pitched very well this spring, had a very good spring. Who can forget Flannery last year, the last game of the year, walking in from the bullpen, one of the, I think, the greatest moments in Orioles history.
Jose Mesa, 24 scoreless innings this spring. Brooks, what's the flavor down on the field? You just made your way back up.
Yeah, well, it was exciting down there, Scotty. You can't move around too much. They're checking you out since the president is here to throw out the first ball. But the players are all excited about this. This is what it's all about. You go through spring training and you're ready to go. You come back here, the cool weather picks you up, and if you can't get excited about opening day, listen, you don't belong in this game.
His new hitting coach, Greg Biagini, new staff under John Oates, Dick Bosman, the pitching coach.
Brooks, are there butterflies on opening day?
Oh, yeah, you feel it. Very seldom during a baseball season do you really feel it inside. I guess the old cliche is the adrenaline starts to flow, but you play 162 games day in and day out, you don't get this feeling like you get today. Very seldom, you know, in a World Series, a playoff, an all-star game, but boy, you get excited about this game, opening day, and just the whole atmosphere with the new ballpark. And, you know, the players, they're anxious. They want to get out there, and once they get a time at bat, and I think it's very important for the Orioles. The big thing is, too, is they got to get on top of this Cleveland club, make them feel like they can't play with us. And we're going to see some good young players on both sides today.
Todd Froworth got passed over. We don't want to forget about him. He was a key element in that Oriole bullpen that was just fantastic last season. And the trainers, Richie Bancells and his assistant, Jamie Reed.
Brooks, that's the feeling I got talking to the players. It's not enough today to just christen this ballpark. A win is very, very important.
Well, it sure is. You take a ball club, you know, you got two fairly young clubs. I would really say that Cleveland overall probably has more good young players than anyone in the American League. I mean, they got some guys that can play. And, of course, they have it's something new with this ball club in Cleveland. They've got like a new beginning out there. Their whole atmosphere is changing. They got a new ballpark in a couple of years. But it is very important, I think, for the Orioles to get out and do just what they've been doing in spring training.
Brooks, you mentioned the butterflies and not only an opener, but a stadium opener, a ballpark opener here in Baltimore. I guess it's nice to be able to hand the ball to a guy like Rick Sutcliffe, who's been through it all.
Well, you're right. Sutcliffe, I guess he's what you call a crusty old veteran. I think you could, and he's got his own style. I mean, he doesn't take a lot of listening from a guy like Bosman. He does his own thing. I think the thing that drives Dick Bosman crazy is Sutcliffe will go to 3-2 on hitters just so he can get that, you know, the next pitch. He's not worried about walking guys, and he kind of got his own repertoire out there. He throws everything, throws it from all different positions. So he's the right guy, and I really do think that he's, you know, he's taking the pressure off of the young guys.
Right now gathering out behind second base, the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra and the Morgan State University Choir joining them.
Brooks, you mentioned spring training, the excellent spring training the Orioles had. Does that carry over?
I am not a believer in being able to turn it off and turn it on. This game, it's too tough to do that. I mean, for individuals, for teams, and I just think the way you play most of the time is indicative of the way you're going to play during the first part of the year. Guys that can tell you that they go to spring training and don't get a hit can come back here and turn it on. Maybe the superstars can't, but 99 and 10 maybe the superstars can, but 99% of the guys can't do that. It's very important to prepare yourself down in Florida to get ready for the season. And I just think that, you know, there's no reason why the young Oriole pitchers should not continue to throw the way they've been throwing. If McDonald's healthy, he can win. He's got a little more experience now. Lackey, a little, you know, he came on the end of the year.
Well, that's quite a way to get it all started. I think Oriole President Larry Lucchino said it best. He said this park looks great in the showroom. Now let's see how it drives, and thus far seems to be driving pretty smooth, Brooks.
Well, it is been a fantastic day, and everything has run rather smoothly, and now all we have to do is win a ball game.
Okay, Orioles and Indians both trying to get in the win column in our first ball ceremony coming up right after this. Chris Hoyles will be the catcher.
Still got.
One strike and one ball, Brooks. You've been there before.
Oh, yeah. Well, a one-hopper, that's not too bad. If it had been a two-hopper, I'd have felt bad for him. His son is joining him there. George Jr., the owner of the Texas Rangers.
He's got quite a team down there this
year.
Sure
does.
We're talking the Rangers up big. President exchanging greetings now with the umpires today. Larry Barnett, Al Clark, Dale Ford, and Greg Koss. A thrill for a player, an umpire, anybody to get a chance to say hello to the president firsthand, Keith.
And a thrill for Chris Hoyles to catch that sinking fastball.
To knock one down, right? The managers John Oates and Mike Hargrove bring their lineup cards to home plate.
Brooks, once the game starts, are the distractions over?
Oh yeah, I mean, you start concentrating on the game. I've always felt the first time at bat that was where you really felt excited, and but after that it's just another ball game.
Well, we're just about set to go. We'll step out and be back. The Orioles and Indians coming up next. First pitch to start this game here at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Right now, Brooks has the lineup scores. Brooks?
Leading off and playing center field for the Cleveland Indian, Kenny Lofton. Hitting second and left field, Glen Allen Hill. I'm sorry. At third base, Carlos Baerga, the designated hitter. The designated hitter today, and batting fourth is Albert Belly. And playing first base, Paul Sorrento at first base. In right field, Mark Whitten. Catching, Sandy Alomar. Third baseman Brooke Jacoby, The shortstop is Mark Lewis.
All right, there you have the Cleveland Indians, and Keith and I were talking earlier, Brooks. This is a club averaging 26 years of age, youngest team in the major leagues. Certainly some talent there, but they haven't had them together long, and they're going to kind of learn as they go.
Well, they're trying to incorporate some speed into this lineup. They have some new faces. I know as an outstanding third baseman who's really not playing today, and what about the name of Thome? T-H-O-M-E.
Thome, I believe
you
it's.
call it Thome?
Thome.
All right. That's good enough for me.
What a great look down toward the Inner Harbor.
But it's an exciting club, and I think that, as I said before, it's a new beginning for this Cleveland Indian ball club, Scott.
Kenny Lofton, an interesting player, their leadoff hitter. He was a member of the Final Four team that played for Arizona in basketball, and was a top prospect in the Houston organization. Came over here, and they think he's capable of stealing 40 to 50 bases, and he won the center field job beating out Alex Cole.
Well, Alex Cole, as you know, came on strong year before last, and this year Lofton, with his athletic ability, has won the center field job and has surprised everyone. But this ought to be an interesting day at the ballpark, because no one really knows how the infield's going to play, how the outfield's going to play, which way the wind's blowing, who it favors, the hitters or the pitchers. But we've got our resident expert
John Miller
is here.
has made his way back.
Yeah.
Well, the place looks beautiful, doesn't it? Very nice job, Brooks, on the ribbon cutting out there.
Oh, thank you, John.
I
Well,
was very impressed. I didn't know you had those talents.
I didn't cut the ribbon. I just looked on.
Well, you did it awfully well. What a sight. I mean, Mother Nature has been agreeable today. Think of all of the things that could have happened, and yet the one thing out of anybody's control, the weather, could not have been nicer. Blue skies overhead, not a cloud to be seen anywhere. Temperatures in the low 60s, and a nice little breeze makes it all feel just like it should feel in springtime. And very soon we'll begin this ball game. I'm not sure what you guys have been talking about up here, but I will say that Rick Dempsey, although not pleased that he didn't make the ball club, kind of a shock for Rick, but also he felt if they're going to release him, he wishes that they had released him about a week ago, because he had a couple of chances to go to different ball clubs, and those chances disappeared in that final week. And he doesn't know what his future holds now. The Orioles have offered him some kind of a job, but he says even he's a little shaky about exactly what it is they've offered him. Apparently some kind of a coach's contract to stay with the ball club, but also stay in shape, work out, take batting practice every day, do his throwing, in case they need to activate him, an injury, whatever, or the need for a third catcher, at which point then he would go into a big league contract. But he says he doesn't know any of those details. He figures once all of the hoopla from opening day has finished, then they'll make all of that clear. In the meanwhile, he's still going to try and land with another ball club.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed that they would not let him know something sooner. I mean, I can't believe they make up their mind the day before. I mean, this is something, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, they felt, you know, probably a week or two ago that Dempsey was not going to be the man. Plus, I mean, you're talking about Tackett, who did well, but only had 17 at-bats, I think. Dempsey had 20 at-bats. So what do you really learn from, and I don't think Dempsey hit off of a left-hander, and Tackett didn't hit off of a right-hander. So it's just too bad, but Rick, you know, thinks that there might be something in the big league somewhere, and he's going to wait and make that determination.
Well, before the introductions today, he asked me, he says, how do they have me listed? Because what am I? I'm not really a coach. I'm not a player. I mean, what's, and I said, well, it says a man who will always be an Oriole, number 24, Rick Dempsey. And he said, well, that's great. What if I end up with San Diego tomorrow, a guy who will always be an Oriole? And I said, well, if you go to San Diego, just make sure when they introduce you in the public address, Rick, that they say, now batting for the Padres, Oriole catcher Rick Dempsey. That'll prove it.
We have had some great skyline shots here. We'd like to thank Cabot and Forbes, as well as Cole Management at 250 West Pratt Street for the use of their building. Our camera high up there on the top floor.
And the Orioles take the field officially for the first time in this new ballpark. And there's the group Scott was mentioning. And part of the skyline of Baltimore visible from Oriole Park. And Brooks, one of the great things about this ballpark, and I think something that doesn't quite fit in this ballpark. They keep saying, gee, they really did it. They made it look like an old ballpark. It's real nice, a lot of nostalgia. And I don't believe that was the point of this ballpark. The point was that people, when they thought about a ballpark, they said, you know, people love Fenway Park. They love Wrigley Field. They loved Ebbets Field in Brooklyn. They have great memories of it. Why is that? Not, let's put up a big wall and make the dimensions odd and make it look old. But why were those ballparks so loved? They did their homework. They went out, they interviewed people, they looked back into the history books. Then they said, why were those ballparks built that way? Why was there the peculiar shape of those ballparks? They did their homework on that too. They did some detective work. And so what they've done here, to me, far from building an old ballpark filled with nostalgia, they built a brand new ballpark, a state-of-the-art ballpark, the most modern ballpark in existence. All future baseball architecture will probably start from this ballpark. It'll be the model. And they did all of the same things, though, that made people love Fenway Park and Ebbets Field. And they built it downtown as part of the inner city, part of the fabric of this city of Baltimore. And I think one significant thing is we see part of the skyline from our vista point. No matter where you sit in this ballpark, no matter which way you look, you see a part of the city of Baltimore. And it looks beautiful from any location in this ballpark. So it's a great addition to the city of Baltimore. And as someone once said, every city needs a great, good place, that meeting place for the community, for shared joy and shared sorrow. And right now, this is looking like that place for Baltimore.
That sure brought the city together today.
Let's hope there's more joy than sorrow this year.
Well, there was a lot of sorrow on both sides last year. They lost 200 games between them, and that's not easy to do.
So here is Kenny Lofton. He was acquired from the Houston Astros in a trade that sent the young catcher Ed Taubensee to Houston. And a lot of baseball scouts who've seen this fella feel that Cleveland really pulled off a heist. The first pitch at Camden Yards is too high for ball one. And the time is what, 2:21? Is that what you got? 3:21. There's a strike from Rick Sutcliffe. Now, he made 5 consecutive opening day starts while with the Chicago Cubs, so he is no stranger to the hoopla surrounding opening day. The 1-1 delivery. That is a fly ball. Brady Anderson, a long run. Can't get there. See, take that high bounce. The warning tracks here in this totally up-to-date ballpark is up-to-date synthetic warning track.
Rubberized.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Now, Brooks, tell us about Rick Sutcliffe.
Well, right now, Rick Sutcliffe, he's thrown 3 straight fastballs, and that's really what you got to do to Lofton. Anything off speed is going to be a plus for him. I think what you have to try to do to him is just overpower him, knock the bat out of his hand. Sutcliffe is going to throw everything from everywhere. He is just a crusty old veteran. That's the only way that I can explain. That's 4 straight fastballs right there. And he pitches to his own style. He doesn't listen to Dick Bosman. I mean, he does his own thing. He'll go to 3-2 on guys just so he can make 1 pitch to get them out.
2-2 pitch. Well, he's gone to 3-2 now on Kenny Lofton. This is not a guy that you want to see get on base. Then he goes to work. He stole 40 bases in AAA ball last year. He has stolen as many as 62 in a season. Joe Orsulak with the first putout at Oriole Park. Shallow right field. 1 away. And that will bring up Glenn Allen Hill, the designated hitter. Now, this ballpark is asymmetrical, and we'll be throughout the day checking on a tour of this ballpark. You've already seen a lot of it during the telecast. See Glenn Allen Hill's numbers a year ago. But it is 333 feet down the left field line and only 318 feet down the right field line. And the deepest part of the ballpark, just a little bit to the left of straightaway center. You see that indentation in the wall, 410 feet there. And there's ball 1 to Glenn Allen Hill. But the one feature in the field of play that will cause the most comment and probably end up being controversial at times is that big structure in right field, 25 feet high. The wall in right, a la Fenway and a la Ebbets Field. And if you hit a home run over that, it lands on Utah Street. And it is ball 2. Now, Brooks, Johnny Oates says that Rick Sutcliffe will always go deep in the count. You were just alluding to that fact. and he will refuse to give in to a hitter.
He will refuse to give in to a hitter. He doesn't mind going 3-2 because he knows he can get the ball over when he has to.
1 out, nobody on. 2-0 the count, and 2-1. The Orioles have Hoyles behind the plate. They've got Glenn Davis at first, Bill Ripken at second, Cal Ripken at short, and Leo Gomez at third, with Anderson at left, Devereaux in center, Orsulak in right. 2-1 the count. Way up there, shallow center, Mike Devereaux. Number 2. And Brooks, one of the things everybody's trying to get a feel for in here is when you see the flags being blown about by the wind, and in the case of this ballpark, those ornithologically correct Oriole bird weather vanes on top of the scoreboard, you see the wind seems to be blowing in. When you see them blowing in a particular direction, you try to get a feel for what does that mean
well,
to
I
a
tell
baseball.
you, I wouldn't pay any attention to the birds up there because I think the wind is blowing out to right field. Watching batting practice today, the ball was flying to right center field. And this is a little strange because the other day when they played the Mets, I understand the ball just wasn't going at all. And also the infield. The infield's a little different today than it was a few days ago.
It was real slow on Friday. Here's Carlos Baerga, switch hitter, batting left-handed. He was Cleveland's leading hitter for batting average a year ago. A real emerging talent. You see it there, 288, 11 homers, 69 batted in. 2 down, nobody on. The slugger, Albert Bell, would be next. Orsulak will come on for this one. And 3 pop fly outs. Hey, Rick Sutcliffe loves this ballpark, Brooks.
So far.
We love him. Wait for a half inning, and soon the Orioles will bat in their new ballpark for the first time ever. Back here at Oriole Park, and Charles Nagy takes the mound for the Cleveland Indians, ready to face Anderson, Orsulak, and Cal Ripken.
Disclaimer. Okay, this telecast is presented by authority of the Baltimore Orioles and may not be rebroadcast in any form without the express written consent of the Baltimore Orioles. The Orioles lineup today: Brady Anderson leading off in left field. In right field, hitting second, Joe Orsulak. Cal Ripken, the shortstop, hitting third. Glenn Davis, first base, hitting fourth. In the 5th position, Mike Devereaux. In center field, Sam Horns, the DH today. Leo Gomez at third base. Chris Hoyles, the catcher, and Billy Ripken at second base.
And Brady Anderson at the plate. Up the first base line is hugging that line, but rolls foul. Fielded just after crossing the line by Paul Sorrento. Charles Nagy, Brooks, last year, his rookie season, went 10-15 for Cleveland. What do we know about him?
Well, he's a sinker slider pitcher, throws around 88, 89 miles an hour, and has trouble with the left-hand hitters. They hit almost a 290 clip off of him last year, John. But, you know, he's very inexperienced, but he is the ace of their staff since Wendell went to the Cincinnati Reds.
1 strike to count to Brady Anderson. Now, the President of the United States is here today. George Bush, we understand actor Kevin Costner is supposed to be in attendance today. Larry King, America's leading interviewer, is also here. A man who can certainly appreciate this ballpark, having grown up with Ebbets Field in Brooklyn. And that's a ball to Brady Anderson. And Larry King has been good enough to stop by. And Larry, what do you think of this place?
Tell you, I feel like I died and went to heaven. There is an Ebbets Field feeling here because of that scoreboard in right field. The facade of Camden Yards looks almost like a Hollywood prop. It's hard to describe. A beautiful day. If there is a God, he came to Baltimore today.
This may even be a proof of one, Larry.
Maybe even be proof. I went out to left field, stood out there in the lower part of the left center field stands.
Here's Baerga. And he throws out Brady Anderson, but Brooks, he hit the ball on the ground. That's the idea with Brady.
It sure is. Brady had a pretty good spring, and certainly Johnny Oates said, hey, you're my left fielder. Go get him, and that's what he's done. And his job is to get on base, but he hit the ball on the nose at the second baseman, Baerga.
Now Joe Orsulak coming up. So, Larry...
I looked at first base, and I felt like I was in Ebbets Field. And there are times you feel like you're in Wrigley Field. There's a Yankee Stadium feel to this. It's a very expansive left center field. And yet it's uniquely Baltimore. I think what you said at the beginning was eloquent. I think it's an old, new park. I think it's a dramatic part of downtown. They're going to do the same thing in Cleveland. They're going to do it in Arlington, Texas.
And modeled after this one.
That's correct. The same architects.
This is the state of the art. They talk about the feeling of the old ballparks, but this is
Yeah.
Totally up to date, totally modern. 1 ball, 1 strike. And there's ball 2.
Well,
I thought Tom Boswell in his column Saturday after the exhibition game here, he had a quote from Cal Ripken after Cal played here. It was a great compliment to the ballpark. Cal said, you know, I felt like I'd been here a lot of times before, like there'd been a lot of games played here.
Well, even more so after the stands filled up here, I said, boy, this really does look like an old park now. Even though it was new, when the fans get here, that's when you really get the feeling.
I said, if I told you this is a 50-year-old ballpark that they've refurbished.
Yeah.
We completely repainted it. We got the bright new green colors, put a new electronic scoreboard in center field, but this is 50 years old. You could sell it.
Fielded it cleanly at first by Sorrento, and he gets the unassisted put out. Orsolak retired. Let's listen in now as Cal Ripken gets ready for his first at bat here. Cal had 2 hits in the exhibition here. So Brooks, who's going to hit the first home run for the Orioles in this
I said
ballpark?
Glenn Davis already. I went on record.
You're on record?
Yes,
out on
record.
a limb.
I mean, I think that the balls are going to fly out of here before the day's over.
Sam Horn.
Sam Horn. Okay, Larry, you're on.
He's going to hit the SK sign.
And it leaves me, I guess, with Cal.
Well, that's not a bad choice.
1 ball and no strikes to Cal. Well, what, his first at bat on his first opening day at Memorial Stadium 10 years ago. He blasted one out, had a great day. 1 ball, 1 strike now to Cal.
I remember that.
The outfield swung around toward left. Be a lot more triples, I would think, Brooks, in this ballpark with that more expansive left field. You see it there. And 1-2 the count. Glenn Davis would be next. No score, first inning. 2 down and nobody on.
That looked like a very good pitch, right, Brooks?
Yeah, 2 good breaking balls. They're quick breakers, too, and that's ripped a little out front that time.
Well, Nagy was 10-15 last year, which is not a very good record, but he played for a terrible club. Pretty good record for a rookie on a bad club.
That's right. They only got him 3.4 runs a game, and that it did not give him much support. Pitched much better than his record indicated.
1-2 the count.
This Cleveland Ball Club, it looks like it has finally made a commitment, John, and they got a new ballpark in '94. John Hart has taken over as the general manager, has signed some of the players to multi-year contracts. So I tell you, I told Scott Garceau this earlier, that this team probably has more good young players than anyone else.
2-2.
By the way, this ballpark lays out just as Memorial Stadium does in its topography, east-west. Shadows will fall the same way. You just think of 33 streets south. We're exactly the same way, right? Left field is where left field was in Memorial.
Albert Bell got a late break in the ball. Looks like the wind is pushing it, and he just does get to it. Albert, he seemed to think, Brooks, that he had that one all the way until he almost didn't have it.
It's what Yogi Berra used to say about left field in Yankee Stadium. It gets late early.
3 up, 3 down. Waiting for our first Camden Yards hit. No score after 1. Ballpark, whether you're sitting facing the field or you just get up and look through one of the archways, the ballpark is wide open. You get a different vista, different view of Baltimore, and the city looks spectacular from here.
Unbelievable.
Here is Albert Bell, very dangerous right-handed swinger. Sutcliffe pops him up. Glenn Davis, not much foul territory in this ballpark. The wind blowing it, and Davis has it. And Brooks, early on, we get a look at what could help a hitter in this park. A lot of those foul balls are going to go out of play.
Well, it's definitely an advantage for the hitter. Not much foul territory. That ball had a tendency to come back a little. Davis got over there in a hurry, put his glove over, and made the catch. He stayed right with it. There you'll see Belly, and I will tell you that Sutcliffe has not thrown a breaking ball yet. He's thrown fastballs to every hitter so far.
Why
there
is that?
You see Davis. Well, a couple of the guys like Kenny Lofton, that's what you have to do to him. But I think he's trying to pitch up in the strike zone a little, just like that. He got the ball. Albert Belly went for a bad ball the last time, but just hadn't thrown a breaking ball
So
yet.
if you were coming to bat now, would you be looking for it?
I'd be looking for it, yeah.
Welcome to Larry King Live, ladies and gentlemen. Larry with his
Well, I got a
guest.
guy like Brooks. I got a mind like this. What would he do if he were coming to bat? The man hasn't thrown a curve.
Let me just say who's up. Paul Sorrento. And he's got the first hit at Camden Yards. And it got past Devereaux, then it got past Brady Anderson, and Sorrento gets 2 bases out of that one. Well, that's a couple of balls that have given outfielders trouble here. The one Albert Bell had problems with, and Devereaux should have caught that one.
Oh, it had been a good play, but you're right. He should have caught that ball. He got a good jump on it, a sinking liner. Here you take a look at it. And Sorrento, who just came over from Minnesota, and you'll see Devereaux there. That's the ball. It just the ball tailed on him, I believe.
Now the official score, Brooks, is saying hit and error Anderson.
Yep.
Overran the ball. Hit and error.
Well, the reason Anderson has to get the error as a strike to Mark Whitten, a switch hitter batting left-handed, is that the runner stopped as he rounded first, content with one base, and then when Brady overran the ball and got off his glove, that's when Sorrento took off towards second. So Brady gets the error. Runner at second. The first hit in Oriole Park by a visitor, Paul Sorrento. And it is 1 ball, 1 strike.
The song, Come Back to Sorrento.
The Twins would like him to come back to Minnesota because they traded him about 2 days before Kent Herbeck hurt his shoulder.
Brooks, what do you think left field is? You think we have a problem here?
In left field?
Yeah, I mean, two plays shaky.
1 ball, 1 strike. That's a breaking ball.
I just think it's going to be a while before they get used to it. I mean, they can work out here and everything, Larry, but until you get the fans in the stands, it looked like Belly just didn't pick up the ball that quickly, and that's the reason he almost
and Devereaux
missed
there.
It. Devereaux, that ball looked like it was sinking, but Devereaux really didn't get there.
2-1 the count. Man in scoring position. 2-2 the count to Whitten. Sandy Alomar Jr. is on deck. Larry, you went to games at Ebbets Field beginning when?
My first game was in 1945. I was 11 years old. All my previous descriptions had been from Red Barber's voice. I was at Jackie Robinson's first game in 1947.
2-2 pitch and 3-2. 3-2, man at second. Now the wall at Ebbets Field. This wall has been likened to that, but the wall was higher, but also feet. It was kind of angled at the base.
It was angled at the base. There was a little sign on the bottom, hit this sign, win a suit. No one ever hit the sign. How could you hit a line drive? It would be like hitting the First National Bank sign on a line.
But I tell you, you could put Ebbets Field inside of this ballpark.
You could. Oh, absolutely. You could put it inside. But there's an Ebbets feeling about it because of that right field. There's a familiar feeling about this ballpark.
3-2 pitch. Popped him up. That'll make it back as a souvenir. And it remains 3-2 to Mark Whitten. Second inning, no score. 1 out, man at second.
There's a Yankee Stadium feeling, too. I used to go to the stadium in the Polo Grounds in Ebbets Field. There's no Polo Ground feeling about it. There's a little Wrigley feeling, certainly looking toward that downtown area. But the Ebbets Field had a 40-foot high right field screen on top of its scoreboard and around its scoreboard, and a big clock over the scoreboard.
There's the runner at second. That is Paul Sorrento. Cal Ripken thinks straight up at short. 3-2 the count. He struck him out with that fastball up out of the strike zone. Brooks, it looked like Whitten did just what Sutcliffe wanted him to do.
Well, this is a pretty free-swinging ball club. You got Glenn Allen Hill, who and Belly, they like to swing the bat. Whitten, who came over from Toronto last year along with Hill, they're very offensive-minded, and this time that was probably the best pitch, the hardest pitch, more velocity than any other pitch that he's thrown all day.
Sandy Alomar Jr. He had a nightmarish year a year ago. Spent most of it on the disabled list. Here's a called strike. It's 0-1. And when he did play, he didn't do anything. Look at that. 7 RBIs against the Orioles, and that's about what he had against the whole American League last year in over 200 at-bats.
Well, I think the jury's still out on Alomar Jr., whether he's going to be able to hit big league pitching or not.
He's going to have a lot of things to prove this year.
Yeah, sure is.
He was hurt last year, and he also admitted that after being the Rookie of the Year, he went through the winter and he went to all the banquets. He did the whole stuffed chicken circuit and didn't work out, didn't do anything. He came to camp, he was overweight, out of shape, and he got hurt partially because he was out of shape. Inside, 2-1 to Sandy Alomar Jr. Had a great year the year before.
Yeah. Have a quickie quiz. Who's the highest paid Indian?
Oh, the highest paid
guys.
Indian.
Come on. You'll never get it. I was shocked.
Oh, the shortstop.
Correct. He's not playing today.
No.
Felix Fermin.
Yes.
The only guy making 7 figures. $1 million on the button.
And there were rumors out of spring training they were trying to trade him. 2-1 the count to Alomar. Man in scoring position. There's ball 3. On deck is the veteran Brooke Jacoby. Larry, Jeff Torborg here the other day, and he said when he looked at left field, because of the way the stands wrap around the foul pole, it kind of reminded him of the old Comiskey. And then he said he turned around, looked back, and he said the upper deck with that roof over the upper deck, and you see it up there, that reminded him of Wrigley Field. Looks just like Wrigley. 3-1 the count.
What happens if every ballpark starts to get built like this? Then someday, 20 years from now, they'll open a cookie cutter and say, isn't this a grand idea? Round.
Reminds me 50 years ago when
Plastic
Cincinnati had a park like that. I love that park. 3-1, drive to center. Devereaux got a late break in the ball. Still going back. Still going back. He's got it at the wall. The side is retired. And that ball took off.
Oh, it took off his right. Hopped on a high fastball, drilled it to center field, and Devereaux just outran it, making a sensational catch.
The first sensational saving catch at Camden Yards. Larry King, thanks for being with us.
Hey, thanks. Hey, that ball really took off. Guys, good luck all year long.
Larry King. No
We'll be back with the bottom of the second right after this.
Loyola Federal Bank will bring you today the Loyola Federal Bank scoreboard. All the up-the-minute scores and happenings around the league, compliments of Loyola Federal Bank. We never forget whose money it is.
Now the last of the second, and Glenn Davis will lead it off. Now, Brooks, who do you predict will hit the first home run as an Oriole in this ballpark?
Glenn Davis, and he's going to hit it right now. How's that, John?
3 times Brooks has predicted that now. So here we go. Last of the second inning. Davis will be followed by Mike Devereaux and Sam Horn. And there's ball 1 from Nagy, the breaking ball missing. Now, we understand that later on during the telecast, we will receive a visit from the President of the United States. George Bush is here with his grandson and also his son, who is the owner of the Texas Rangers, the president of the Rangers. George Bush also here today. There's ball 2 to Glenn Davis, 2-0.
Things are looking better. Looking good. 2 balls, no strikes. Got to come in there with this one.
Brooks is thinking long ball here.
How about right center field?
He had a couple out there that last year. Drive deep, but foul down the left field line.
Oh, that's too bad.
That had home run
Might have been the one.
Two and 1 to Glenn Davis. Now, Davis had 10 home runs last year, even though he was hurt, as Johnny Oates put it, even though he had basically no shoulder muscle. Up the middle, first hit by an Oriole. Chased that low pitch and hit it hard.
Yes, he did. Even though he kind of pulled to the front side, he got enough of it, got the ball on the ground up the middle, John. And there was some controversy about, how slow the infield has been. Here you see a pretty good pitch by Nagy. He cannot throw it any better than that, but Glenn Davis just overmatched him. But the infield, they cut the grass. It's a little faster today.
Now here's Mike Devereaux hitting in the number 5 spot. He's a leadoff man last year. You see Sorrento on the bag with Glenn Davis at first. No score in the game. Devereaux had 19 homers. He takes a strike. 10 triples, which is a huge figure playing half the games at Memorial Stadium. And then you see it, 59 RBIs. With that, with the same power numbers hitting 5th, he might have 85 RBIs this year. They want to take better advantage of that.
Well, I think also that they feel Devereaux's ready to maybe move up another notch as a better player. He can go from a good player to a very good player. He's got a lot of potential, does a lot of things.
1 ball, 1 strike, and Davis back to the bag, and Nagy almost threw it away.
As a leadoff man, does not get a lot of walks. Brady Anderson really your best base stealer. But here's a guy like Devereaux that you prefer to have hitting down a little ways because of his power.
And this could be 2. Here's 1 by Erga to first. They doubled him up. And that's Nagy. Brooks, we see Nagy keeping the ball down, making them hit it on the ground.
Well, that's exactly right. And Devereaux swung at a bad pitch that time. It really helped him out.
When you face a sinker baller like that, what's the best plan of attack?
Well, the best plan of attack is just tell yourself when you go up there, you're going to try to make him bring it up just a little. And here you see him swung at a ball way below the knees, and it's a pretty good double play right there by Arga. Played second and third last year. This is a team that made 149 errors last year.
Well, Baerga started the year at third base. And they moved him over to second about mid-year. Sam Horn takes the ball, and Mike Hargrove, the manager of Cleveland, feels that Baerga could be a premier second baseman. He's got great movements, very quick, and has great range over there. That's a foul. 1 ball, 1 strike to Sam Horn. All of a sudden, all action has stopped up on Utah Street behind that wall. You notice that? Well, Big Sam, he got his sights set out there.
Yes, he does. If anyone, this ballpark should favor anyone, I'd say Sam Horn more than any of the other players on this club.
Left field. And slicing back toward the seats. Out of play.
How about that opening day, John, that Sam had in Kansas City 2 years ago? He had a couple of shots there that would be kind of headed for the warehouse.
His first game as an Oriole, and he hit a 3-run homer against none other than Brett Saberhagen. And then in the 8th inning of that game, with the Orioles down by 3, he hit another 3-run homer against Steve Farr the second time, and the Orioles eventually won that game in extra innings. 1-2. Part of his strategy, he promised with 2 strikes he'd shorten up and take it to left.
Well, I was watching him that time, John, and that's exactly what he did. He said he's going to start giving in a little more when he's got 2 strikes, and that's what you have to do. There's a line drive right over the shortstop, Mark Lewis's head. We saw Cal Ripken do that last year many times with 2 strikes. Go up the middle, go the other way. And that's what you have to tell yourself to do. You got to be a little more defensive hitter with 2 strikes on you.
Now Leo Gomez. He hit one well enough to have hit the first home run in this park in the exhibition game Friday. Ball 1, a slider missing. He really crushed one. He thought it was going out. Johnny Oates thought it was going out. The whole bench thought it was going out. But it was caught toward the left field corner by a leaping Vince Coleman. The wind and the cold conspired against it. That's ball 2.
I think it'll be a while before you can say the Orioles really have a home field advantage, because it'll take a while to find out what's happening out there. And so at this point in time, everyone's equal.
Leo Gomez, 2 balls, no strikes. He started to come around about the last week of the exhibition schedule. Into the hole. This is Lewis to Baerga for the force against Horn, and that ends the inning. So the Orioles get 2 hits. Still looking for a run at Oriole Park. Jacoby will lead it off. Another vista from the new ballpark. We'll be back.
An up-close look at this entire historic day at Oriole Park at Camden Yards on News Channel 2 tonight after the ball game.
Now to the 3rd inning, and Brooke Jacoby will lead it off for the Cleveland Indians against Rick Sutcliffe. No score in the game. Sutcliffe has given up 1 hit. He has 1 strikeout. Jacoby, the once and current Cleveland Indian. They traded him away last year to the Oakland Athletics as he was having one of his worst seasons, and it got even worse when he went to Oakland. Breaking ball from Sutcliffe for a strike. Jacoby was brought to camp as a non-roster player, and some injuries helped put him in the opening day lineup. He's playing 3rd base today. The 3rd baseman, Jim Thome, a rookie, supposed to be in there. There's a ball, and he's on the disabled list. And the young 1st baseman, Reggie Jefferson, also on the disabled list. So Jacoby's out there.
Well, Jacoby, it's a strange case. His career is really taking a turn for the worse, and I really can't figure it out. But here's a guy who, you know, hits the ball. He had a couple of big years in Cleveland, but the last year and a half has been a struggle for him.
He was an American League All-Star the year before last, selected by Tony La Russa. And Tony traded for him last year and wondered what happened to that All-Star player. It's not the one he got.
He's got some power, strikes out a lot.
Saw Sutcliffe drop down a little bit there in that breaking ball.
Well, as we said before, he throws from every position, every pitch. Just a guy who's not going to give in a whole lot to the hitter. And if he's, you know, if he's throwing pretty good, he's never going to get knocked around too much. Just knows how to get out of the innings.
He strikes out Jacoby with that high fastball. And Brooks, to get him on a pitch like that, I mean, the pitch is out of the zone. He's got to have a little something on it.
Yes. No, I'm impressed. I really am. You know, I don't think he's thrown this good. I mean, that's just a perfect pitch almost. Jacoby swung right through it. But, you know, the thing I question, John, and we mentioned this in spring training, I mean, here's a guy who pitched for the Cubs. If anyone needs pitching, the Cubs need pitching. He was their best pitcher the last 6 or 7 weeks. You know, how does he get over here? That's what I want to know. And I'm thinking to myself, well, something's got to be wrong. You know, they just don't let guys go. But basically, Sutcliffe said, look, I want to get away, and this is a good spot for me. And they said, fine.
1 strike to Mark Lewis, the opening day shortstop for Cleveland, over Felix Fermin. That is foul down the right field line. Lewis started off last year, the month of April, hit about 390. Looked like Rookie of the Year material. And wasn't long after that, a month after a terrible slump, that he was down in the minor leagues again. They had him playing second base, and he wanted to play short. And could not make that adjustment. Finally, they sent him out. 0-2 the count to Lewis. Oh, yeah, he just did lay off.
Well, it was a bittersweet year for him because, as you said, he hit 400 for a month, and all of a sudden, things got to going the other way for him, and they sent him back, and it was a good learning experience for him. He is really the crown jewel of all the young players that Cleveland has.
That's a ball. 2-2. Now, Lewis was a high draft choice, and he made the ball club as a spring training invitee. And in his first ever game against Texas and Nolan Ryan, he went 2 for 3 with a double and 2 RBIs against Ryan. 1 out, nobody on in the third. No score in the game. 2-2 the count. Off the fist. Popped him up. Can you believe it, Brooksy? That's what happened when Sutcliffe made that happen in Chicago. That's the way they described it on the Cubs telecast, Brooks. Now you do the Steve Stone part.
Okay, thanks a lot. Oh.
There's the Oriole Braid Trust, Cal Sr. And there is Davey Lopes, number 15, the new first base coach, and also the running backs coach. Greg Biagini passing by, the hitting instructor. Here's Lofton.
Well, let's see how he pitches him this time. Last time he just tried to overpower him. Oh, with all fastballs.
Showing bunt.
And I'll tell you, the first time through this lineup, I think Cleveland's a little surprised how good he is throwing.
Kenny Lofton, you see what he did at Tucson last year with 40 stolen bases. Attended the University of Arizona. Also played basketball there on a Final Four team for the Wildcats. Ooh. 2-0 the count. Now, Brooks, when you watch a guy like that, now Gomez is about 30 feet down the line from third for Lofton. We saw him show bunt. Are there things you can see in a guy like that that tell you if he's bunting or not?
Well, there is when you play against a guy long enough. But let me tell you, I talked to Leo before the game, and we just, you know, I said, Leo, the way they're talking about the infield being very slow, I said, play up in their face. Make it hit him by you. Make them hit it by you. And that's basically what he's doing. He's telling Lofton, okay, hit it by me. I'm not going to give you a bunt. I said, the thing that upset me is when someone used to beat out a bunt. Oh, that upset me. So, you know, and I said, Leo, just make him hit it by you, because if Lofton tries to hit it by him, that changes his whole style of hitting, and it takes something away from him. I can only remember about once or twice in my whole career that I played up in someone's face and said, okay, hit it by me. And it only happened about once or twice. When you start trying to do that, it hurts you.
Into left center, Mike Devereaux back. And like the Orioles, Brady Anderson, as Devereaux grabs it, if they get Lofton to hit the ball in the air, they're in good shape. So at the end of 2.5 innings, no score. We have a surprise visitor when we come back.
Is it coming here? Okay.
Number 23, Chris Hoyle.
Well, we're happy to have President George Bush with us on this special occasion for all of us in Baltimore, and your review of Oriole Park at Camden Yards, Mr. President.
Fantastic. And what you see up here is unbelievable, not just because it's a beautiful day, but a great ballpark. And then we were privileged to take a look downstairs in the dressing rooms and in the practice area. And it is unbelievable. It is just magnificent.
President Taft started a great tradition, I guess, by throwing out the first ball.
Yes, he did, but Taft never went with a curveball. He'd always go with a straight one, and I made the mistake once again of breaking it off a little early.
Chris Hoyle saved you, right?
Well, he's a very good catcher there, but I thought I was up against some great left-hand hitter, so I wanted to keep it away, down and out, as they say, you see.
The Texas Rangers aren't here today, so I guess you can openly root for the Orioles.
Well, we had 3 generations of George Bushes here. That kid that was out on the mound that showed up his grandfather by throwing that strike is the 3rd George Bush. And then George W., who runs the Rangers, didn't want to go out there and get booed. He let me do that. And but it was great. It was a great day and a wonderful, friendly crowd and a magnificent tribute to Baltimore, this Camden Yards. It is beautiful.
John, we're strong on the corners. Brooks Robinson and a great first baseman here.
And Chris Hoyle's down on strikes. Now, Mr. President, Brooks said that if he'd been the batter when you were up there, 2-strike pitch, that pitch you threw, he would have swung at it.
Well, that was Brooks's problem in the old days. But if he swung at something like that, he'd have been in real trouble. Oh, it's fun. I get down and warmed up down there, and then look at that pitch.
Well, I didn't realize it was a breaking ball.
Well, that's what it's supposed to be. I keep saying that every time I throw it into the dirt, Brooks. What a day out here, though, huh?
And strike 1 to Bill Ripken. You ever think of doing any baseball play-by-play?
Well, I could give it a shot. The Ripken boys, I saw them just before this game, and what a great family for baseball.
Well, Bill's up
there he
right
is
now.
inside.
Yeah.
Inside. About strike high, but inside he's let it go by there. What do we got? 1-1. Here comes the pitch. Getting ready. Here it comes. And he down there to the shortstop. And out he goes. 6-3. Easy play.
Now, when you played, I mean, they keep saying you were an excellent glove man, but you weren't that good a hitter. I mean, give us the actual real story about that.
Well, I have a baseball card out there by Topps on me, regrettably. So it's the average was 260 something one year, and regrettably 231 one year in college. So I wasn't much of a hitter, but I loved the game. That's the big thing. What a thrill to have my grandson out there today.
Brady Anderson, the hitter. They tell me you have a baseball encyclopedia you keep over at the White House.
We got a good one over there, good one. And we got a few other marvelous baseball prints. Whoops, there he is, out of there first. What a 3.
President George Bush, play-by-play man.
Now,
incredible. All the networks are calling right now.
Are they? What do they pay?
You couldn't afford it.
We'll
President
see
Bush.
you guys. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
We enjoyed it.
Charity, the Coca-Cola Classic Player of the Game. The Oriole player will be selected at the end of the game. Stay right here and choose along with us as we select that Coca-Cola Classic Player of the Game.
And there's that gigantic, sort of venerable looking Coca-Cola ad. And there's some people catching the game for free across the street out there. Here at Camden Yards. Sutcliffe to Glen Allen Hill. Hill flied out to shallow center his first time. And it is ball 1. No runs, 2 hits, and 1 error for the Orioles. No runs and 1 hit for Cleveland. The big scoreboard complex out there on which you just saw the Coca-Cola sign. And there's a ball. 2-0 the count. Is quite an impressive looking area. There you see it. You see up in the left, up in the upper part of that scoreboard, the team that's batting, its lineup is always printed up there. And the line score of the game is always up there. They never take that down. Unlike the old ballpark where the between innings would take down the score. This is Hoyles, and Glen Allen Hill has fouled out to the catcher, 1 away in the 4th inning. And now Bayerga comes up. Also, they've got, instead of the old Diamond Vision, which we had at Memorial Stadium, they've got the new television screen out there, but it's a Jumbotron. There it is. Hey, video feedback, incredible. And they say this is a much sharper, more state-of-the-art mechanism for showing replays and live pictures. But always you've got the information that you want as a fan. The line score, the hit totals, and the lineup is up there for you.
Yeah, I'd like to know what the shortstop did the last time up, though, Mark Lewis.
President threw us for a loop,
Yeah, he
didn't
did. We got all excited here. I know he made an out.
That's what I went with. I used the Phil Rizzuto notation, WW. Wasn't watching. There's ball 1 to Bayerga, a switch hitter, batting left-handed. He flied to shallow right his first time. Also, and we've shown it a couple of times, that big right field wall with the advertising panels. Also, the out-of-town scores are shown at all times on the right field wall. That's a ball inside, which, if you're a real baseball fan, that's That's an essential to always be able to follow all of the out-of-town games. In fact, we can tell you, looking at that board, Toronto has defeated Detroit 4-2 there. To Minnesota leading Milwaukee 2-0 in the 5th.
It's a Puckett homer in that game.
Toward the middle, Bill Ripken gets it. And gets Baerga at first base. 2 men gone. The Loyola Federal scoreboard here in our telecasts, and we need look no further than just right out there into that right field wall. In between, they got the National League on the right, the American League posted on the left out there in right field, and in between they've got a matrix board that will show bits of information from those games, such as the Puckett home run, and earlier it showed Fielder hit a home run in that one, in that game in Detroit. Here is a guy who can hit a home run, Albert Bell. He had 28 of them last year. Fouled back. He had 20 of them on the road, Brooks. 8 in that gigantic ballpark in Cleveland.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, they have moved the fences in Cleveland. I look for this fellow to have a big year. He's just big and strong, got a great swing, and if he just doesn't self-destruct, John, he's had some problems over the last year or so, but he thinks he has it under control right now, and that's the key to him having the big year.
I mean, this guy is impressive, and yet he played in, what, 123 games. He missed almost a fourth of the season and still hit 28 homers, even though he had that gigantic ballpark. 1-1 the count.
John, they brought him in considerably, too. I think it's 30 feet in the power alleys in both left center and right center, so his numbers could really take a jump.
You see Belly, he looks like he wants the ball on the inside half. He's thinking about one thing. That's hitting it as far as he can.
2-2 the count to Albert Bell. Great slugger. 2 down and nobody on. They say that big ballpark was playing on the minds of the Cleveland players. Guys like Albert Bell, they'd crush a ball and would land in somebody's glove at the warning track. After they had earned a home run, they got nothing. Bell lays off that pitch. Well, now they've seen him do this a few times, Brooks. We saw Bell lay off, and they should start laying off that pitch.
Well, Bell's a pretty aggressive hitter. If he throws him up there again, he might swing at it, John. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 away. We're in the top of the 4th inning, no score.
Bell only walked 25 times last year, which is kind of astounding because who wanted to pitch to him? They didn't have much around him.
That's right.
So he was up there hacking. No score, 4th inning, but a guy who could change that in a hurry at the plate. Albert Bell, the outfield deep and around toward left. Didn't get it. Ball 4. Well, now it looks like a guy who walked 100 times last year.
Boy, I don't know how he can take that pitch either, but he did. It was dropped down, side arming, just missed on the outside part of the plate.
Paul Sorrento, the hitter. Now, the Twins wish they had him back because Herbeck hurt his shoulder trying to leg out a triple in the spring, and he hurt it about 2 days after they traded Sorrento away. There's a ball too high, and Andy McPhail said, hey, if Herbeck had already been hurt, no way we trade this guy. This guy's always had some power, but he's never been able to break into the regular lineup.
Well, it certainly was a good break for him, although he was coming over here to be a backup to Reggie Jefferson, but Jefferson hurt. He's in the ball game, and he has a base hit already.
He got the first hit. He's the answer to a trivia question for this ballpark. Who got the first hit ever in the Camden Yards ballpark? And it was that man right there, Paul Sorrento, former college hero with Florida State. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 down. Albert Bell, the runner at first. Davis on the bag with him. The outfield is playing this left-handed hitter like a right-handed pole hitter. Dever over into left center. That's a strike. 1-2 the count. And we see Sutcliffe blowing on his hand there after that pitch, Brooks. The wind is blowing. It's a pleasant day, but maybe a little cool out there.
Gets a better feel when he does that. Maybe it has a little moisture. No spitter, but just enough to keep the ball a better feeling on the horse hide.
1-2 the count to Sorrento. Witten on deck. Strike 3 called. And that ends the inning. Sutcliffe with his third strikeout. Through 4 innings, he has allowed just 1 hit. That's Mrs. Cal Ripken. Now there's Mr. On deck as Joe Orsulak leads it off. John Miller along with Brooks Robinson, Scott Garceau. We're in the last of the 4th. No score at Camden Yards. And Joe Garagiola has stopped by.
Larry King's applauding. You're not all choked up about it.
I am. Hall of Famer Joe Garagiola.
You dressed up for me, John.
I did. I was just going to wear my shorts and T-shirt just like Florida. And they said you were here with the Today Show.
You look nice.
What do you think? This ballpark, what do you think?
This is a new old ballpark. I like it. And please, anybody calls it a stadium is dead wrong.
1-2 now to Orsulak.
It is a ballpark. I mean, the other ones, you know, it's like going to General Hospital. They're all the same. The corridors and all that. This is a ballpark. If they only had an Abe Stark sign out in right field.
Hit the sign with a suit of clothes.
Yeah, and then they put Ferrillo in front of it. An alligator couldn't get by.
See, I'd like to look at this club if we had Ferrillo out there.
Yeah.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Orsulak. He grounded out to first his first time. Nagy the pitcher. And Sorrento tags out Orsulak, and Cal Ripken is coming up. Now, by the way, Joe, this is Brooks Robinson over here, my partner.
Remember
Brooks,
him.
Joe Garagiola.
Never saw Joe. You went home, took a nap, probably, didn't you?
No, I did. I got up at 4:30, man.
No, you
got to
did.
get up mighty early. Brooksy was here early.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you're lucky because you're going to see a lot of triples in this park. That right field, little indentation out there, there'll be some guys thinking that ball's coming straight back at them. It's going to be exciting.
Big left field area, too. Here's Cal. Cal flied out to shallow left his first time. The sinker misses for a ball. All right, how did you hit at Ebbets Field?
I hit infrequently. Musial hit good there. Can I talk about Musial?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
2-0 to Cal.
That's where he got the name. When he took batting practice, people stopped, lit candles, went to the church and everything. When he was stand the man in Brooklyn. I love that ballpark.
2-0 to Cal. Down the left field line, but foul, and it is 2-1. Who's going to hit the first home run for the Orioles in this ballpark?
I hope it's Cal Ripken. That's what I hope. But it'll be somebody who'll end up hitting 2 for the year.
2-1 to Cal. 1 out, nobody on. 2-2 the count.
Well, we've been helped. Sorry, Joe.
No, go ahead. I was going to say, who do you think's going to hit the building?
Oh, I don't know about that. It'll have to be a big wind blowing to somebody hit that building. 460, is that right, to the building?
Yeah. If you pull it right down the line, it's 460.
Yeah.
If Cecil Fielder swings late, he might hit it.
Well, he's already hit 1 more today, Joe.
I believe it.
2-2. And he stays alive. Foul ball.
Brooksy, I saw him hit 1 at Plant City. There's a pond out beyond left field. I asked Sparky, is that the hardest? Because I'm telling you, it's about $9 by cab from home plate to where he hit it. and Sparky Anderson said it's the hardest ball he ever saw hit. And I saw him hit that one in Toronto when Ripken put on the exhibition.
Yeah.
And remember that one?
Yeah.
What a ballpark this is. John, you're lucky to have this job, John. Don't get out of that seat.
I say that first thing every day. I light candles for this job. Down the left field line. That's in there. Base hit. Albert Bell fields it. Cal with a big turn at first, but he's going to go back. The third hit for the Orioles. First for Cal. And with 1 out and 1 on, Glenn Davis will come to bat.
Well, Nagy tries to get inside, leaves it out over the plate, and Ripken drills it left field. Here you see Belly, who is one-hands it, fires it into second base.
Whoop, put the brakes on. So Glenn Davis. Now, Joe, you made the sentimental pick. You'd like to see Cal hit one as the first Oriole to hit one out. Brooks, business all the way, said he thinks Glenn Davis will be the guy to hit it out first. He singled his first time to center field.
I'll tell you, with those glasses he's got on, he's going to be the best dressed guy to hit a home run. Look at those. When's the last time you saw a guy dressed like that to hit a home run or get a base hit? Look at those glasses. That is real fashion.
This is a recent phenomenon. People wearing sunglasses to the plate.
Yes, it's called endorsement.
2-0 to Glenn Davis. Mike Devereaux on deck. Joe Gargiulo, you were here. You televised the whole show from here this morning?
No, we just did Larry Lucchino and Janet Marie Smith, and then we did Frank and Brooksy, and we had 2 hits, and Willard did some of the weather here.
2-1. We're in the last of the 4th inning. No score in this game. Now, Larry King was telling us about the wall at Ebbets Field, but you're saying Stan Musial, I mean, did he hit him over that wall and off the wall?
Off the wall, through the wall, over the wall. He played handball with it. He had a pitcher named Dan Bankhead, and he threw a 3-2 curveball. Musial stuck it in the wall, and Bankhead covering home plate said, "What kind of league is this? 3-2 curveballs, they hit it through the wall."
2-1 now to Glenn Davis. 2-2 the count.
There was a 2x4 ran across the top of it. I hit a wind-blowing home run. I say wind-blowing because when it came down, it hit the 2x4, and I could hear 20,000 people in the ballpark trying to suck it back in, and it just barely got over. But it was exciting.
Now that wall, Ebbets Field, it was 297 right down the line.
That's right.
That was real close.
Oh, was it?
See if they can turn this one. They get 1. Baerga gets 2. Double play. Still no score. At this point, Joe, predict who will just drive in the first run.
Let me think about it.
Joe Gargiulo here with us. No score. We're heading to the 5th inning. We'll be right back.
Toronto to beat Detroit 4-2 in the 7th inning. Minnesota. Is that 2-1 over Milwaukee, John? I think so.
Yeah, in the 7th.
Okay, in the 9th inning, San Diego, Cincinnati tied up 3-all. And San Francisco, Los Angeles, no score after 1 on the Loyola Federal scoreboard.
Brooks Robinson with the Loyola scoreboard. Joe Gargiulo, the Today Show, has stopped by. Hall of Fame sportscaster, baseball broadcaster, went into the Hall of Fame last year. Congratulations on that,
Thank you,
Joe.
John. Thank you.
This is Mark Whitten, and the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. What do you think of Sutcliffe up till now?
I tell you, I'm surprised he's throwing well. I think, well, of course, he knows how to pitch. You saw him strike the one guy out in a high fastball out of that strike zone. He knows what he's doing out there. I love pitchers. They make catchers look smart when they know how to pitch.
1 ball, 1 strike. Bill Ripken. And that is the first out of the 5th inning. Whitten struck out his first time.
Brooksy, did you check the grass to see how high it was?
Yeah, I talked to Cal Ripken Jr. about that. He said they did cut the grass. It's a little faster now, you know, so they were complaining today that it was very, very slow the other day, but they did cut it a little faster, and they seem to think as the summer approaches, then it'll
How'd you like it? Did you like it fast?
I liked it fast. Yeah.
Sure, with those hands. What a pickpocket he made, huh, John?
See, I don't even bring my wallet when I work with Brooks.
Yeah, but I told Joe, Joe said, what's the first thing you look at when you come into a ballpark? I'm saying, I'm looking at the outfield signs to see how far it is.
1 strike the count to Sandy Alomar Jr. Hit a deep fly ball to center. Devereaux made a very nice play on the ball, and that one is back in amongst the spectators. 2 strikes the count.
We noticed the difference. He looked at the fences. Guys like me, Ivars, we looked to see if our uniform was still in the locker. And then we'd look at the fences.
2 strikes the count to Alomar. So, Joe, I mean, you still you make it out to the ballpark?
Oh, yeah, I love baseball. There's only one thing like it, man. Nothing. Sound like
I was getting interested there for a second.
I was going to say something.
Well, what is it?
One thing like it. What is it? You know, it's like did you see City Slickers? There's only one thing, except for you to figure out, John.
Hey, you could win an Academy Award with a line like that.
Jack Palance, I can do a couple push-ups.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Alomar. Base hit. Gomez made the dive, but it was past him, and that is the 2nd hit against Rick Sutcliffe. We're in the 5th inning, no score in the game, and Brooke Jacoby is coming up. When was the first year that you broadcast baseball?
1955. This is a good pitch. Gets it inside.
Yeah. Alomar got his bat of the bat out there in a hurry. Turned on it.
1 out, 1 on in the 5th. The batter is Brooke Jacoby. There is Alomar over at first base. Jacoby standing in. Jacoby's dad lives around the Baltimore area. And that's foul Strike one. So you started broadcasting baseball a year before Brooks started playing baseball.
Didn't ask you that, John.
How old were you when you started playing baseball? Wow.
I was 20 in the big leagues.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, you were a phenom then.
I had hair down to my eyebrows.
Got 4 hits in the World Series
That's
game, right, Joe?
You want to come to my house and see them? I got movies of all of them. Oh, that's a big thrill.
Fly ball right center, hit pretty well. Orsulak and Devereaux both there, and Orsulak will take it. And going halfway was Alomar, so he will return. 2 men gone in the 5th, and now Mark Lewis will come up.
John, I put it in perspective, this ballpark. This morning early, I had to go to the men's room, and I had to use the groundskeepers because I was out in right field.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm not trying to be funny or anything else. That bathroom was better than the one we had with the St. Louis Cardinals in the Sportsman's Park. I'm telling you the truth. Tile and everything. We didn't have that. A rookie, you know, he said, "Where's my locker?" Guy take out a nail, bang it in the wall. Here it is. Boys, a change and great.
2 down, Alomar first. How about you see the Orioles clubhouse? I mean, you see the size of that?
You kidding me? Different time zones. That's really big.
Guys could play together a whole season and never even meet each other.
That could be a break.
0-1 the count to Mark Lewis. Joe, you don't know what Lewis did his first time up, do you?
Lewis? I know what he did his second time up.
Base hit. Why don't you do a little play-by-play here, like the old...
Now with more play-by-play, here's Joe Garagiola.
No, John, I'm not going to be compared to you. I haven't done it for a while. No, I'm just glad to sit here. I remember we worked together in Chicago.
I did.
You don't remember that?
I do. Detroit Tigers at Chicago White Sox.
That's right.
Jack Morris started the game.
That's right.
A highlight for me. I'll never forget that day.
When was it, huh?
Just 4, 5, 6, maybe 8, 7, 9. 2 down, 2 on for Cleveland. Scoring opportunity here in the 5th inning, and Lofton, the leadoff man, is up. He has flied to shallow right and flied to left center. Rick Sutcliffe, a little jam here, and again, a la the tip from Brooks Robinson. Gomez shallow at third, but this one is driven out into left center. Second straight time he's hit one out there. You could have done that, Joe.
Could have done what? Saying he hit it to left field?
Yeah.
Yeah, easily. Easily, John.
Why don't you wrap up this inning now?
I'm not going to wrap it up. It's your job.
Work, work, work. We played 4.5. No score from Camden Yards. Devereaux leads off when we return. Tom Clancy, what do you think, Brooks? Future owner of an NFL franchise in Baltimore?
That would be nice. I think a lot of people will be taking a look at that today. See this crowd, this ballpark. Good luck to him.
Cal Ripken in the dugout rooting on Mike Devereaux. As Devereaux hit into a double play his first time, faces Nagy, swings at that slider, little pop fly, and lofted in center field, takes it. Our thanks to Joe Garagiola of NBC from the Today Show for stopping by. And now, what a proud day for the city of Baltimore, the state of Maryland, the eyes of the baseball world focused on Baltimore. And again, the comments seem to be unanimous. Nobody has ever seen anything quite like this. And now here is the very proud mayor of the great city of Baltimore, Kurt Schmoke. Proud day for you, Mr. Mayor.
Just waiting for the first Oriole home run.
Who's going to hit it?
All right, who's up? Sam Horn?
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll on second pitch, he'll hit the home run.
Yeah, and he fouls this one back, 1-1.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, one of the things we're talking about, this fabulous ballpark, is that it is downtown, so much part of the city already.
Yeah.
But also the city seems to show up well. No matter where you're sitting in this ballpark, you see beautiful views of this city.
It's just fantastic, and I know people are going to, stay downtown after the game and enjoy themselves. So I think it's really done exactly what all the people thought it was going to do. I watched after the exhibition game. People were still down here about 3 hours after the game, so it's going to be great.
2-1 to Sam Horn. Horn singled his first time. Gomez and Hoyles will follow.
Pitcher must have heard me staying away from that home run pitch.
Yeah.
He's worried. Nagy to the plate. And it is 3-1. Well, Brooks.
Well, if he hits a home run, we might bring you back Wednesday night too. Yeah.
Well, he told me he wanted to try to get to the warehouse, and that's the real challenge here.
3-1 to Sam Horn. Ooh, came up and hit him on the side of the head, knocked the helmet off. Wow. 3-2 the count to Sam. Can shake you up a little bit. That ever happened to you, Brooks?
Yes, it did. Yeah, he's very lucky. Got under his hat, but says he's all right. You know, Sam, the last time got a base hit to left field, but got 2 strikes on him. That was 3-1 that time. He looked like he, you know, pulling out. He was thinking home run when he was swinging.
Well, on 3-1, if he's going to swing, I think that's the way they want him to think,
Yeah,
right?
You bet.
Yeah, to get a look from the outfield there, you see the Orioles bullpen core. Mike Flanagan assures us a great view from the bullpen. 3-2 pitch. And Horn draws a walk. So, Mayor Smoke, I mean, you've been an Oriole fan for a long, long time.
Yeah, and it's great. I love the national anthem. You know, some people complain about the fans saying, "Oh," during the middle of the national anthem, but it's great to see the same spirit from Memorial Stadium brought down here. So the spirit lives on.
Quite a job turned in by the Morgan State Choir before the game and also with the anthem.
I thought the nicest touch was the construction workers, having them out there, the tribute to them. That was just great.
Here's Gomez, and he takes ball 1. We're in a scoreless game, last of the 5th. 1 out, 1 on. Horn at first. Gomez into a force play his first time. Things I've heard on television, radio, read about in the newspapers, the people who worked in this ballpark, who actually built the park, really took pride in it.
Absolutely. Every time I would come down here and talk to some of the construction workers, they really felt it was their park. And guys would stop me and show me the things that they worked on. So I think you'll probably see people bringing their families in and walking around talking about how they developed this place. Hopefully the mayor of Cleveland will come by, too, and take a look, because they're trying to build one up there.
They'll all be coming by soon. Into the hole and through. Base hit for Leo Gomez. Stopping at second is Horn. And the Orioles, for the first time, have 2 men on at the same time. And Chris Hoyles is coming up.
I better let Scott come back in here.
Hey, you were hot.
All right.
Just shows you the strength of Leo Gomez. Even though he kind of pulled to the left, the ball on the outside part of the plate, he was strong enough to pull it right in the hole to left field. First and second, 1 away.
And Chris Hoyles now coming up. And the shadows begin to advance upon home plate now. The rest of the field lit up in that bright sunshine, brilliant sunshine, as you can see. But now you see the shadows. And we saw some people fighting with some sun out on the right side, Brooks, on Friday here. It's like right field could be a real tough sun field, especially this late in the afternoon. 1 out, 2 men on. Here's Hoyles. No score in this game yet. Nice save by Alomar. Mr. Mayor, were you a ball player?
Well, I was a brief first baseman, which means I was short. No, but I played Little League and the 14 to 16-year-old, but was never good enough to go on, but I really loved the game and loved the spirit and all that it does for the city. It's just great.
Well, I followed your career as a football player, Mr. Mayor.
Well, you know, that's my only claim to fame, that I caught Unitas' last pass in Memorial Stadium.
Into deep left center field. That one is really hit. On the run is Lofton. He can't get it. It bounces off the wall. Will get the first run of the game home. 1-0 Orioles. And Gomez will have to go back to third, but Horn has scored. That's the first run in the new ballpark.
And scored by Sam Horn. I think I'll quit while I'm here, John. Brooks, it was great.
Can't leave us now.
That's wonderful.
They're hot.
I tell you, that's great.
We're very superstitious in baseball. That cost them a run, Brooks, bouncing over the wall like that.
Yeah, they got a little tough break on that, but here you see Hoyles. Lofton playing over a little towards right, but he drills this ball. It looks like Lofton might outrun it and catch it, but he does not catch up to it. He hits the warning track, takes a big hop into the left field stands.
The squeeze is on it. Billy gets the ball down. That'll bring a run home. Jacoby throws it out. The Orioles are ahead 2-0. On the first pitch, the squeeze play was on, the suicide squeeze. And Gomez came charging down the line, and Billy got a pitch up in his eyes, Brooks, and he got it down on the ground.
He did. Execution. There's not much you can do if you get the ball on the ground and the squeeze situation is on. And he scored easily as the Orioles put 2 on the board.
And here's Brady Anderson to try and get that third one home. 2 down in the inning. 2 runs in. Strike to Brady, who has grounded to second and grounded out to first. Well, nice execution. They work so hard on those kinds of things in the springtime. At every opportunity, they put the squeeze on in exhibition games, trying to manufacture runs. That was a real lacking in the ball club last year. They didn't hit home runs last year. They just basically most often didn't score.
Well, I'm a believer. You put 1 on the board, you put another one. That means they have to score 3 now. And you're talking about an Indian team that was shut out 18 times last year. That was an American League high.
2 runs in for the Orioles. 2 down, but 2 strikes to Brady. And he got it. Well, you got 2 runs in there.
Well, I think that's great.
I heard a little bit of anguish in your voice there.
Well, I love to come to games where I can really root for somebody. This is great. And I like Devereaux's catch early on. I thought that was an old-fashioned catch for an old-fashioned ballpark. Just
Mayor of Baltimore, Kurt Schmoke, having a great time out here at Camden Yards. Thanks for stopping by.
The way it works, for every run scored by the O's in the Ronald McDonald House inning, a donation of $100 per run will be made to the Baltimore Ronald McDonald House, courtesy of the Greater Baltimore area McDonald's and WMAR TV. And today's inning is the 7th. And remember, go to bat for Baltimore's Ronald McDonald House. Drop in your change when you visit your neighborhood McDonald's family restaurant.
All right, 2-0. The Orioles out in front with a lead for the first time. And Rick Sutcliffe working to Glenn Allen Hill. 2-0 the count. Hill followed by Baerga and Bell, and the power is coming up. Barbara Mikulski, and right behind her, Paul Sarbanes. 2 of the Maryland representatives to the Congress. Now the wind really pushing this one away from Orsilac, but he caught up with it. So how he came in, Brooks, and then all of a sudden he made an abrupt left turn.
Well, I think you're going to see a lot of the outfielders just not used to the ballpark, and Joe surrounded it.
Here is Carlos Baerga. He flying to shallow right and also has grounded to second. Sutcliffe has allowed just 3 hits, 1 walk. He has 3 strikeouts. And Cleveland has been able to get a man as far as second 2 times, but they've not been able to get anybody home. 2-0. The Orioles with an RBI double by Hoyles, and then the suicide squeeze bunt from Bill Ripken for the 2 in the 5th inning. 2 runs, 5 hits, and 1 error for the Orioles. Cleveland, no runs, 3 hits, and no errors. Cleveland has left 4 men on base against Sutcliffe. Ball 1 to Baerga.
It's Cleveland's man of the year last year.
Off-speed delivery, right center field, really carrying, but Orsilac is there. Out number 2. He really hustled over there all of a sudden, but he got there and was waiting. 2 men gone. Now Brady Anderson Brooks play left field in this ballpark, and that's a real big field. And Johnny Oates says sometimes he'll play right field, and you figure probably in parks maybe like Fenway, where they have a big right field.
Yeah, you'll give him a little more space to cover than the other outfielders, and I don't think it makes much difference to Brady one way or the other, but I feel a little more comfortable having him in the left with the more spacious outfield out that way.
Gomez fields it cleanly. Off the bag, though, and Bell is retired. The tag from Glenn Davis. 3 up and 3 down. Sutcliffe looking good.
Oh, man. I'm telling you.
Orsilac, Cal Ripken, and Glenn Davis coming up. 2-0 Orioles after 5 1/2 from Camden Yards.
Your nearby Oldsmobile dealer, your gallant men of Olds are proud to once again sponsor the Oldsmobile Home Run Sweepstakes during Oriole games on News Channel 2. For every home run hit in the Oldsmobile Home Run Sweepstakes inning, a maximum of $1,000 will be awarded to the lucky contestant.
Ground ball is short by Orsilac on the first pitch, and Lewis throws him out.
the jackpot will grow in $100 increments until the next home run is hit. If your Oriole batter hits a grand slam home run, you'll win a 1992 Oldsmobile Achiever. Stay tuned and we'll tell you how you can enter to win thousands or even the new Oldsmobile Achiever, courtesy of your nearby Gallant Men of O's. It's going to be a great Oriole season, and your Oldsmobile dealers are pleased to be a part of it. The Oldsmobile Home Run Sweepstake exclusively on Channel 2 News.
No, go ahead. Keep going.
I sure hope someone hits a home run.
Hey, all the time you need, Brooks. Go ahead.
Thanks, John.
What else about that you want to tell us about?
Should have the president read that one, Brooks.
They said you were going to read a little spot, and you ended up in a filibuster. One strike to count to Cal Ripken after Orsolak grounded out. Cal is 1 for 2. He's fly to shallow left, and he is singled. And it is now 1 ball and 1 strike. 2-0 Orioles. Last of the 6th. You did finish that up before the inning ended.
That's good.
You write those yourself? Ball and a strike to Cal. And 2-1. Charles Nagy. He's pitched pretty well up till now.
Yes, he has. No, I think he's pitched well, and it's the same old story for him. You know, no support last year. A little over 3 runs a game. He was 10 and 15, I think, on the year.
Of course, if you pitched for Cleveland last year, you didn't get many runs almost by definition. They did not score well. Cal couldn't quite wait long enough in that curveball. Foul ball down the left field line. A much sought after souvenir on this historic occasion. 2-2. It's hard for me to keep my eye on the field, Brooks. There's so much visual stimulation in this park. I'm constantly looking around the premises, taking it all in. An incredibly beautiful place. Toward the middle, Lewis throws him out. 2 men gone. And now Glenn Davis coming up. 2-0 Orioles. The big warehouse out in right field. I have to admit, when it was first proposed to me that they would keep the B&O warehouse out there, I agreed with the likes of John Stebbin. I thought they should blow it up and let's see the downtown, the harbor skyline and whatnot. But it is such an imposing presence, but also just right. And a lot of things are set into motion because that is there. It's very useful, number one. It keeps Utah Street out there, and it is one of the reasons that they're able to justify the odd dimensions in this ballpark to fit into the piece of real estate.
I think that's what made all the old parks so unique, John. When you think about Crosley Field or Ebbets Field and even Fenway Park, it just fits the area it's in because of maybe a street running behind the left field fence there in Fenway. And it almost is like they took this park and set it right here, and this is the way it had to be.
That's right. At Fenway, it's Lansdowne Street, or it was. I think they renamed it Ted Williams Way now. Chicago, Wrigley Field, you got Waveland Avenue and Sheffield Avenue behind the 2 fences. And 3-0 out of Davis. And, of course, the famous right field wall at Old Ebbets Field, Flatbush Avenue. And here, Utah Street behind that right field wall.
This would be a good pitch right here, 3-0, to let a guy like Glenn Davis, who has a pretty good idea of the strike zone. You're ahead 2-zip. Nagy's going to get back there. Well, he's going to step out here.
I'm saying that he was thinking of throwing him a fastball on that one.
You're right.
Looked like Davis could have crushed it, too, let me tell you. Time was taken, no pitch. 3-0, the count remains to Glenn Davis.
Well, he's going to get another one right here, so let's see what happens.
You see now the shadows have advanced upon home plate. Davis in the shadows. He was swinging, and to his credit, Nagy did not give him much at which to swing there. Cal Sr., he was one of those who apparently got some food poisoning the other day in Washington, and he still says he doesn't feel too well. He's the third base coach, and there's Davy Lopes, new Orioles coach, one of the great base stealers of all time. 3-1 to Glenn Davis. High fly ball to center. Lofton and the right fielder Witten, and Lofton takes it. And guys, that's the 3rd out, much to their surprise. So the Orioles go down in order. A very quiet 6th inning. We're heading into the late innings now. On we go to the 7th. Sorrento will lead it off. The Orioles 2, Cleveland nothing. There's the view from the skyscraper across the street.
The West Pratt Street for the use of their building. Our camera way up there on the top floor.
And here's a base hit to center by Paul Sorrento to start Cleveland off in the 7th inning. First ball swinging. That is only the 4th hit for Cleveland against Rick Sutcliffe. John Miller with you, along with Brooks Robinson, Scott Garceau, President George Bush, Joe Garagiola, Larry King,
Mayor Schmoke.
There is Storm Davis now warming up in the Orioles bullpen. We're into the late innings. And, of course, Sutcliffe, 7 innings. I think he went into the 7th one time during the spring. So that coupled with the fact that he had food poisoning Saturday was one of those afflicted after the game in Washington. Here's a ball low to Mark Whitten. Ball 1. So they'll keep a close eye on it. There's the Demper and Brooks. I know you thought he was going to make this ball club.
I sure did, John. I had a good feeling about him making this ball club, but a little disappointed that he didn't. But that's the way the game goes, I guess. We were talking, you know, it was back in 1977 that Rick Dempsey coming on the roster. I went off the roster, and that was my retirement day. And Rick and I had a little talk about that, but he would want to be a part of this ball club. He just has some good vibes for it, and I was disappointed that they waited to the last day to make the decision.
2-0 the count. Now 1 hop to Glenn Davis. He goes to Cal. There's 1. Back to Glenn at first. 2. A double play. Nicely turned. 3 to 6 to 3. And that's not the easiest double play to turn, is it?
No, I tell you what, Glenn Davis making sure that he got the good throw to second base. Get 1 in this situation. It's tailor-made, though. 1 hop to Davis, squares himself up, fires the ball to Ripken, and he handles it, gets back there. Perfect throw to first base. Got him easily.
And Sorrento went in hard on Cal. Cal had to jump right over the top of him out there. Both bullpens are busy. We saw Storm Davis heating up in the Oriole bullpen. Cleveland has double-barreled activity in its bullpen. Johnny Oates talking to Dick Bosman, the pitching coach, down in the dugout. 2 down, nobody on as the dangerous Alomar comes up. He chased a bad one, but again, not much room in foul ground here. That one might have been playable at the Memorial Stadium. About 20 feet less room in this ballpark before you hit the stands here than in the old ballpark.
Actually, Alomar has had better swings than any other Cleveland player at Sutcliffe. He's been right on everything he swung at. There's your bullpens out there. Cleveland on top, the Orioles down below.
And Elrod Hendricks alongside Storm Davis in the Orioles bullpen. Cleveland has Rod Nichols, a right-hander, and Eric Bell, the former Oriole, the left-hander, up. And that's ball 1 to Sandy Alomar. Those bullpens, by the way, the Orioles bullpen is elevated 3 feet above the playing surface, and the Cleveland bullpen is elevated 6 feet above. You get a look at it. So the fans can always see both bullpens and all the action out there. That's strike 2 on the outside. 1-2. 2-0 Orioles in the 7th inning. 2 down and nobody on. And Rick Sutcliffe, I mean, they could hardly have asked for more on this opening day than what they've gotten from him so far.
I'll tell you, you know, you talked about it. Johnny Oates did. He said, look, we got Sutcliffe to take the pressure off the young pitchers, and he has done exactly what the Orioles got him to do.
Well, you know, the Minnesota Twins, they picked up Morris last year and paid him a lot of money. A lot of people said, hey, Morris might be finished. He's had 2 bad years in a row. Of course, Morris proved to be anything but finished. He's got a lot more money this year in Toronto. In the right center field, Devereaux is going to make this play easily, and that retires the side. That's 7 shutout innings from Rick Sutcliffe. Remember that shutout in 10 innings in the series. Morris, a money pitcher. And here's Sutcliffe on the big stage with his new ball club. This historic day, 7 shutout innings. 2-0 Orioles.
With the Ronald McDonald House inning, remember, each run the Orioles score this inning means $100 to the Baltimore Ronald McDonald House, courtesy of the Greater Baltimore Area McDonald Restaurants and WMAR TV.
All right, Brooks Robinson. And this is John Miller. Brooks Robinson, along with Scott Garceau. We're glad to have you with us. This historic occasion. By the way, opening night is the night after tomorrow, Wednesday night, the first night game in this ballpark. Devereaux, the hitter. Lofton will come in for it. And the Cleveland center fielder takes it. Devereaux is now 0 for 3. 1 down in the 7th. The batter will be Sam Horn. 2-0 Orioles. A lot of seats available for that Wednesday game, by the way, and a lot of pregame ceremonies and pageantry scheduled. As they're really doing it up as a second home opener, the first night game, opening night. And then Thursday, a night game with Cleveland, and a huge fireworks and laser show right after that game. They say the biggest in Orioles history. And then the Detroit Tigers, a ball club that are always associated with fireworks, with Fielder and Tettleton and Deere and all the big sluggers. They'll be in a week from Friday for the first weekend series here, and good seats, a lot of good seats available for all of the remaining games in the month of April. Horn up the middle, base hit. We keep thinking Sam.
I tell you, he has got that in mind. He wants to hit that warehouse very badly, believe me.
Now Leo Gomez. Sam has 2 singles and a walk.
You see a fastball, tails away from him just a little bit. He gets it right on the nose, up the middle into center field. Baerga playing over towards first base more. No chance to make that play.
Well, now he's a singles hitter, Brooks. He'd probably be stealing next. And a curveball for a strike. Both bullpens are busy.
Well, that's been a good pitch for Nagy all day. A quick breaking curveball. Not a big breaker, but quick.
Gomez really fueled that 2-run 5th inning rally with a single. And that breaking ball misses. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 runs, 6 hits now for the Orioles. No runs and 4 hits for Cleveland. And we are in the last of the 7th inning. Shadows advancing across the infield, almost out to the pitcher's mound as Gomez looks out at Nagy. Hard grounder to third, fielded cleanly by Jacoby. Baerga gets one, back to first, another double play. 5 to 4 to 3. That is the 3rd double play into which the Orioles have a hit. Quickly, we're heading to the 8th inning. Jacoby, Lewis, and leadoff man Lofton coming up. Sutcliffe and the Orioles up 2-0.
Ronald McDonald House inning. However, a contribution of $100 will be made by the Baltimore Ronald McDonald House, courtesy of WMAR TV and the Greater Baltimore area McDonald restaurants.
Now the 8th inning. 2-0. The Orioles ahead. Now the Orioles in good shape so far, but that lead is not a very big one. And Rick Sutcliffe is into the late innings. How much stamina is he going to have left? Brooks, what should we look for from Sutcliffe? What telltale signs would perhaps be an indicator as to whether he's beginning to lose?
Well, John, I don't think you're going to see much drop-off in any area of his game right now. I don't think he's labored at all. He's kind of coasted through these first 7 innings, giving up 4 hits, but never really been in trouble and getting a lot of guys to swing it early in the count.
This is a pinch hitter, by the way, for Brooke Jacoby. This is Alex Cole leading off the inning, and he is a leadoff type hitter, a fine base stealer. 295 average last year with a lot of walks.
There you have Flanagan on the left, Storm Davis on the right.
He'll be ready if needed. 1 ball, 1 strike to Cole. On deck is Lewis, and Lofton, another speedster, is due up 3rd in the inning. Cole's not a home run hitter, but he's very, very fast, and Gomez is very shallow for him. I'll allow the advice of Brooks Robinson over at 3rd base. The outfield bunched up toward left field. Brady Anderson very shallow in left.
Well, he has an outstanding on-base percentage, a good offensive player. Where he's really lacking his defense, and that's the reason Lofton was able to gain the position in center field to start the season for the Indians.
He was so strong as a base stealer in less than half a year the year before. He was one of the reasons they moved the fences out in Cleveland. They kind of built the club around him. Now it is 3-1, and that's what you were saying, Brooks. He has that high on-base percentage. He'll take a walk.
Well, I don't think you're going to see the Orioles wait too long if Bell does get on base. But we've seen Sutcliffe today.
Strike 2, 3-2.
A little high outside. You know, the reason that I was saying a lot of times when guys get tired, they really get the ball out of the strike zone. But Sutcliffe has been up there all day, and he's had him swinging a few of them.
Strike 3 called. Oh, looking for the walk, but he didn't get it.
Right down the middle. Here you take it. Sutcliffe up 2-0, just challenges him, and nothing could be better than that.
How could he take a pitch like that? 2 strikes. Well, he wanted to walk up there. He wasn't just wanting to take a walk. He was demanding a walk. Here is Mark Lewis, 1 out and nobody on. Now, on a 2-run game, Brooks, late in the game like that, that's a big at bat from a 3-1 count to keep him off the bases. Here's Lewis. He has popped to first, and he is singled. We're in the top of the 8th inning. Rick Sutcliffe working on a 4-hitter. 4 strikeouts, only 1 walk. I would have thought more walks. This game right now is about an hour and 45 minutes old, which would indicate very few pitches thrown by either pitcher. Ball and a strike to Lewis. 1 out and nobody on. The outfield straightaway for this right-handed hitter. That will go out of play down the right field line. Look at those seats down the right field line. In that corner, they angle around, and the people are able to look back right in toward home plate, toward the pitcher's mound. Great seats for baseball in what would ordinarily figure to be the boondocks, that right field corner area. I think those are some prime seats down there.
You're sitting down there, you better be heads up. Line drive foul right in there.
Strike 3, call again on the outside corner. And Sutcliffe strikes each of the first 2 hitters out looking in the 8th inning.
Strike 3, a fastball, and might have got the benefit of the doubt on that one, John, but that's okay too.
Is that a product of being around the strike zone all day?
Well, I tell you, he has been around the strike zone, but he's also been out of the strike zone a little too. There's a...
Now this could be trouble. Look out. Bill Ripken, no play. Lofton with a terrible bunt. You kids at home, don't try that. Lofton is a highly paid professional. That is dangerous to bunt it that way, but it worked out very nicely for him.
Well, he squared around a bunt. Sutcliffe's first instinct was to come in. There was not much he could do. The ball was popped over his head, and as you said, John, he was certainly not trying to do that, trying to get that ball on the ground, maybe pull it between the pitcher and the first baseman. Here you'll see Sutcliffe on his way back. Ripken ends up feeling the ball, but with no play.
Have you ever seen a worse bunt than that worked out any better?
It's been a few. I've seen a few in my day.
I once saw Rick Miller at Fenway Park one day square around a bunt. Everybody knew he was bunting, and he pushed it over the head of the third baseman and down the left field line for a double. He squares around, he bunts it, and it's gone.
That's the name out of the past, Rick Miller.
Now is Lofton going right away, or they're down by 2? He's got to hold on.
I don't think so. I think he's got to stay right here right now. You got the heart of this lineup coming up with Glen Allen Hill and Barga and Bell.
And Hill is a guy who's capable of hitting one out of the ballpark.
Yeah, this would be a terrible time to get thrown out at second base.
Hill has hit as many as 31 home runs in a minor league season, and he hit 8 home runs last year in a little over 200 at bats. Lofton back. Well, they're mindful of him over there. 5 hits for Cleveland. 2 down and nobody on. Sutcliffe just giving up the 5 hits and 1 walk. Lofton back again. Why is he so worried about Lofton here?
I don't know. I don't think it's smart to be throwing over there right now. Concentrate. 2 away. Concentrate on the hitter.
There's that outside corner again. He's getting that pitch now. Barnett gave to him earlier in the inning, so why not stay out there? You see Sutcliffe blowing in the hand again. The pitcher now, the mound itself is in the shadows. Lofton with his lead. Strike 2. Stayed out there. This time Hill chased it.
Well, it's all or nothing for Glen Allen Hill. That's kind of the way he approaches ever at bat.
Davis on the bag at first. Gomez guarding the foul line at third. Right back to Sutcliffe. That is 8 shutout innings for the veteran. His 6th opening day start. His first for the Orioles. And as he heads to the dugout, the folks behind the first base dugout rise and give him an ovation. It's 2-0 Orioles. Orioles will bat when we return. Providing travel for the Orioles television network all season long. For myself, John Miller, Brooks Robinson, and Scott Garceau. U.S. Air, one of America's great airlines, and we're proud to be associated with them again this year. U.S. Air, it begins with you. Chris Hoyles, one of the heroes today if this score holds up, takes a ball outside from Nagy. 2-0. It was his double in the 5th inning that drove in the first run in the history of Camden Yards. Oriole Park. I think one of those names or the other will end up becoming the commonly used name of the fans here. And I'm going to let the fans decide which one. There's a fly ball into shallow right. This is Witten. And that is the first out. Now you've got changes for Cleveland. You see Witten in right field. Alex Cole has stayed in the game to play center field. New center fielder, Alex Cole. And the new third baseman, there's Cole in center. And he will hit, of course, 8th in the order. And there is Tony Perez-Chica, who has gone into play third base. So Lofton has left the game. Perez-Chica will hit in the leadoff spot in the order. The batter is Bill Ripken. What a beautiful play by Bill to save the day in that suicide squeeze in the 5th inning, Brooks. Bad ball, very high, and he got it down on the ground.
He had the right guy up there, and that's what you had to do, make contact. Billy had a ball out of the strike zone. Rips it foul into the stands down the left field, in the left field stands. But if you're the hitter, you've got to protect the runner, and Billy Ripken did just that. He got the ball on the ground. No play at home. The run scored.
1 out, nobody on. Billy with one of the RBIs on opening day. The first ever suicide squeeze bunt successfully executed in Oriole Park at Camden Yards. 2-1 the count. You could look it up. Now there are other ball games going on. We're going to update you on the Loyola Federal out-of-town scoreboard as we can see it right out there in the right field wall. Popped him up. Alomar has it, and that is the second out.
All right, John, on the scoreboard, the Blue Jays have posted their first win of the year with a 4-2 victory over the Tigers. The Twins and Brewers are tied 2-2 now in the 9th inning. And in the National League, the Padres over the Reds 4-3. That's final. And the Giants lead the Dodgers 2-0. That one in the 3rd inning. Scores on the Loyola Federal scoreboard.
Now here's Brady Anderson. He's grounded out twice and struck out once. In fact, his strikeout elicited a groan from Mayor Kurt Schmoke, who was here helping us broadcast at that time. Speaking on behalf of all Oriole fans, I'm sure. Nagy got it. Nice play. All right, now the stage is set. The big hitters are coming up. Baerga, Bell, and Sorrento, the numbers 3, 4, and 5 hitters. Rick Sutcliffe has the lead. He has a shutout as we head to the 9th inning. Can he hold on to it? Will he get that shutout? The first ever at Camden Yards. Soon we'll find out. 2-0 Orioles on to the 9th. 2-0, the run scoring in the 5th inning. The game summary: a double by Hoyles driving in Horn with the first run, and then the suicide squeeze bunt by Bill Ripken driving in run number 2. That's all of the offense given to Rick Sutcliffe, but so far it's been more than enough. But now the Cleveland lineup comes up. The 3rd place hitter Baerga, and then Bell right behind him. The bullpen is busy. There is strike 1 called to Baerga. A 5-hitter for Sutcliffe, 5 strikeouts, just 1 walk. We want to thank all of you for tuning in today. We apologize to some of our network affiliates who apparently were seeing the Japanese version of this telecast. You see Greg Olson, the right-hander, Flanagan, the left-hander. And at times we're seeing other ball games entirely. And we beg your pardon. And we're getting those kinks worked out here today. And it won't happen again. Hai, dozo. Hajimemashite, dozo yoroshiku. Actually, that was you and me, Brooks, just doing the Japanese version ourselves earlier. Ball and a strike to Baerga. Oh, couldn't hold up. 3rd base umpire Al Clark said, "You swung at it, buddy. 1 ball, 2 strikes." Rick Sutcliffe, I mean, this is quintessential Sutcliffe. Talk about rising to the occasion. He had food poisoning less than 48 hours ago.
Well, it's been 2 years of pain for him, too, John. You know, I mean, this is a wonderful story if he can just finish him off right here. You look, Sutcliffe.
Right back at Sutcliffe. He got a glove on the ball. Cal throws him out at first. The assist from Sutcliffe. Big play. If that's a hit, you've got Bell with a chance to tie the game.
Well, it had base hit written all over it. Line drive up the middle. Here you'll see it right back, right off his glove. Slows it down just enough for Cal to get over, make the one-hand scoop, and got him easily at first base.
So there is 1 away, and here is Albert Bell. Now, even if he does go deep, and he does a lot, he cannot tie this ball game. 1 out and nobody on. It was a key man to get out, and Sutcliffe got him. Despite the ball being hit hard. Just outside. Rick Sutcliffe, 139 lifetime victories. Some pitching to that man, Johnny Oates. Oates knows all about him. Oates watched him up close in Chicago as a coach when Sutcliffe was the ace of the Cubs staff. Sutcliffe, a 20-game winner and a Cy Young Award winner with the Cubs in '84. High pop fly. Bill Ripken, Cal Ripken, Mike Devereaux, all in the neighborhood. Billy takes it for out number 2. 2 men gone in the 9th inning. More than 40,000 at Camden Yards. The Orioles ahead 2-0, and Rick Sutcliffe, the newest Oriole. And now with just 1 out needed, many of the people, as is the custom, well, how can we say it's the custom at Camden Yards, as is the custom of Oriole fans. They rise to their feet as if by the sheer power of their will to get that 3rd out along with Sutcliffe. Sorrento, the hitter.
And he has 2 of those base hits today, a single in the 2nd and a single in the 7th.
Ball 1. 2-0 in the 9th inning. What a throwback to old Orioles baseball. Strong pitching, some clutch hitting, excellent defense, and a quickly played game, very compact game. Out of play, 1 ball, 1 strike. Witten would be next. The outfield pushed toward left against this left-handed hitter. The right side of the infield plays him straight up. The left side plays him to pull. 2 hits for Sorrento. His other time up there, he was called out on strikes. Rick Sutcliffe looking for victory. Number 140. Check swing, strike 2. He went around with it. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 2 down in the 9th inning. And now Sutcliffe, 35 years of age, 1 strike away from what will have to be a very pleasing victory for him out of many if he can nail it down. 1-2. And here it comes. The Orioles have won it, and Sutcliffe has the shutout. His 17th lifetime shutout. His first shutout since 1989. They built the perfect ballpark. The huge crowd arrived. The celebrities, the dignitaries, the President of the United States. The weather was perfect. And then Rick Sutcliffe, and the Orioles do their part, but particularly Sutcliffe. It's Rick Sutcliffe's day here at Camden Yards.
Well, it sure is. I don't know how you could have been any better than Sutcliffe today.
6 strikeouts for Sutcliffe, only 1 walk. And they were hoping just to get innings from Sutcliffe. But today, how could he possibly have been better? Nobody ever got past second base, and only 2 men even got that far. 2-0. We love this place.
But timely hitting, good pitching, good defense, execution. That's what it's all about.
It was just 1 outburst of offense from the Orioles. That was in the 5th inning. A walk to Horn, a single by Gomez, a double from Hoyles for the first run, and then the suicide squeeze by Bill Ripken. That was all of the scoring, but it was more than enough for Rick Sutcliffe, and that sign was also true. Sutcliffe 1-0, his 17th career shutout, and he's been through a lot of the wars in the majors, but this has to be a tremendous thrill for him.
Well, you're exactly right. It has been 2 years of pain for him, and you know the Cleveland Ball Club swung at a few balls that allowed the strike zone early in the game. But I think late in the game, the umpire looked like he widened his strike zone just a little, and it really helped Rick.
Rick Sutcliffe, what a game. And Scott Garceau is standing by with today's hero in this historic first game. Scott?
All right, the star of the game with us, Rick Sutcliffe. What a debut, buddy.
Well, I think I'm as surprised as anybody. I got to be honest, there's a couple people that deserve an awful lot of credit. The good Lord for giving me the health to show up, and Johnny Oates for having the faith and bringing me back out when a lot of people said I was through. If it weren't for him, I obviously wouldn't be here today.
I know you always like to finish what you start. Was that what you were thinking in the late innings?
Well, Scott, I think you can tell that it gets awful exciting around here in the 9th inning, especially with the fan support that we have. I like to finish what I start when I'm given the opportunity, but it's also awful nice to know that Otter's down there when we need him.
That's right. Not a lot of offense, but some exciting play. Billy lays down the squeeze bunt, and you got a couple of runs to work with.
Well, no question. The MVP of the day was Mike Devereaux. That play he made in center reminded me of Willie Mays a long, long time ago, but the W is going to be by my name, but he deserves at least half of it because that could have been a big inning for that club.
Looked like you really were in control most of the way, putting pitches where you wanted them.
Well, I got to be honest, I was about as nervous as everybody else was out here today. You know, getting those 2 runs was a big boost. You try to keep from walking anybody and let the great defense do their work.
Welcome back to Baltimore.
Well, thank you, Scott.
Rick Sutcliffe, star of the game. Let's go back upstairs.
All right, and thank you, Scott Garceau. Congratulations to Rick Sutcliffe, and indeed, that play by Devereaux Brooks, that's a run if he doesn't catch the ball back in the 2nd inning, and that inning is still going, and who does know what might happen, but there you saw it. That was the happy ending for Sutcliffe and the Orioles, his 6th strikeout to wrap it up, a 5-hit shutout.
Outstanding. And Coca-Cola donating $100 to the favorite charity, the Coca-Cola Classic Player of the Game, and today none other than Rick Sutcliffe. $100 goes to Ripken Reeds from Coca-Cola.
Brooks, I enjoyed it.
Thank you, John. I did too. We'll look forward to doing a lot more.
Now, is the president going to be with us every game like that, or was it just
he's
one time
gonna miss this weekend, but he'll come back.
We're 1-0 at Camden Yards with the President of the United States. We want to thank all of you for being with us today. Don't forget, Wednesday night, opening night here. Malaki will pitch for the Orioles that night. Ben McDonald will go on the Thursday night game to bring this first homestand to an end. And what a day it was. And the Orioles have defeated Cleveland 2-0, 44,568. The crowd. The game was played in 2 hours and 2 minutes. That does it. From the new Orioles Park, a reminder to join us Saturday, April the 11th. That's this Saturday at 1:30 in the afternoon when the Orioles take on the Toronto Blue Jays at the Sky Dome on many of these network stations. Until then, this is John Miller for Brooks Robinson and Scott Garceau, President of the United States George Bush, Joe Garagiola, Larry King, Mayor Kurt Schmoke, and all of those who are with us.